So we're still learning about the box model. We're going to learn about this thing called box sizing border box. And I'm just making sure I said that right. Yes, I did. Box sizing border box. So let's take a look at that. And I'm going to copy this code. And the box model. And this will be box sizing. And that is a property. And so let's see what that does. So split vertically. Oh, I don't know if I used number 2. I didn't do anything with number 2. So we'll get rid of 2. And we'll make that one 2. All right. Box sizing, border box. All right, so for my body, I'm going to say align items center. And then I'm just going to put an H1 here to test that, make sure, because it's been a moment since I've done that. And let's just make sure that got into the center. That did not do it. And I'll put a border around the body, see where that is. And launch that once again. So there's the body. And link is linked to that main. And that main is right there, and that one's there. Cool. And I want this to be in the center. And so CSS center div. Horizontal and vertical line. So horizontal line. Let's see if that does it. What do we have? Margin auto. Margin auto. Margin auto. I like margin auto. So we'll do. Get rid of that. Margin 0 auto. No. And text align center. Is that put us in the middle? That's interesting. So that was just to get, and if we look at the H1, so this is how I kind of figure out what's going on. Do that. We'll make it 2 pixels so we can see it a little better. So that kind of shows me what's happening, right? For my box on the page, I've got a box in a box. This box is in that box. Not really what I'm looking for. So I was thinking I'd center things that way, but I'm going to say go to something called Flexbox. I'm just doing this to demonstrate something, and I like centering things with Flexbox. And now let's look at that. Different, right? So that's centered. That's cool. That's kind of what I want. So body center stuff. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to have a div. And this div will have, we'll do some content in the center. Now we'll just do a width. Width of 100 pixels. Height, 100 pixels. Border, 1 pix, solid black. So there's my box, my div. Okay? And I'm actually going to do this more like 200, 300, and 200. 150. See what that looks like. And a little bit more. I'll make it a little bit bigger. Okay? And I'm going to have 2 of those. And justify content center, align item center, and flex direction vertical column. Cool. So I've got 2 boxes. You don't need to know this flex stuff yet. This is just arranging them. And so here is ID 2. Okay. So this div is being applied to both, but then for number 2, so that this CSS will get applied to each of those, but then number 2 is going to get some extra stuff applied. Okay. And what I'm going to apply is I have content, and then I have padding. I'm going to apply padding. What's that going to do? Content, padding. Push the border out, right? Okay? Right? Push the border out. But then watch this. Okay, so I have the same stuff down there. This one's going to be 3. I'm going to apply the same thing. So same thing's going on. Now I need to bring these all down in size a little bit so they all fit on one page. Okay. But on this one here, I'm going to do box sizing, border box. Whoops. And you remember it's box sizing, border box, because the box is on the outside. So on this thing, box sizing, border box, I got box on the outside. It's not border box, box sizing, which would be boxes on the inside. It's box sizing, border box, boxes on the outside. And now when I refresh this, it doesn't change the size. If anything, it kind of brought it in a little. Because when you apply box sizing, border box, it restrict outward growth. Okay? So box sizing, border box restricts outward growth. So instead it pushes the content inwards. Pushes the content inwards. So you don't want things to expand because it can blow up your design. So if you throw box sizing, border box, as you add padding or as you add border, and we could see the same example with a border. So this would be padding. And then the next one, O2 would be border. So we could do the same thing with border. Where instead of padding, we could do border. Let's bring it down to like 20. So as I add either padding or border, so the previous example is padding. All right, this added padding, it made this bigger. There's no box sizing, border box. This added padding, but it's just going to squish my content in. All right, this added border made my thing bigger. This added border, but it stayed the same size because that's box sizing, border box. Margin isn't affected by box sizing, border box. So it's just a way for us to add one more thing so that as we increase border or padding, it doesn't make our element bigger, it just squishes the content inwards. And we could see that if we add content. Right, there wasn't quite enough room there, so it overflowed. Our design kind of broke. But it pushed the content inwards. So our content had less room. So that's box sizing, border box. And we have, cool, I started recording. We have this code. Let's look at the examples. There we go. So the border property, we'll look at that in a second. Display property. So we have a padding, border, margin, the box model. Everything is a box and it has content with padding, border, margin around it. And there's the padding, border, margin. And then box sizing, border box will keep that from growing. Box sizing, border box. So, there's some examples here too. 016 box sizing, 016 box sizing right here. Different borders. All right. No padding. Padding grew out. No padding, box sizing, border box. Padding, box sizing, border box. All right. Padding border no longer increased my width. So that is padding. And then this one shows border. So I have box sizing, border box. And if you look at that CSS, box sizing, border box is going to be applied so that my element doesn't grow in size. I'm going to keep. Anybody have to run? Can we go over? It's 450. You want more than your money's worth? Yeah. All right. So we'll pick up on Thursday. And what I want you to create for your homework assignment, I'll put it up on the class. Let me take roll. And we'll call it a day.